Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Thursday, June 6, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Thursday in Major League Baseball. First up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Yusei Kikuchi for Toronto, no official starter for the Orioles. Kikuchi not in good form right now. Has given up in his last two starts, which was 8 1/3 innings combined, 10 earned runs, 17 base hits, and 2 home runs. And then you look at the fact that the Blue Jays are 0-7 in Kikuchi's last 7 starts, including all losses in the month of May. It's tough to get there with Toronto in this one when you got the Orioles hitting lefties as well as they have this season and in the last 30 days. Like I said, no official starter for Baltimore because they're dealing with some starting pitching injuries. John Means and Tyler Wells, I think they're going to be out for the rest of the season. But I still think Baltimore's bullpen good enough here. I think the lineup backs them up. So give me the O's in this one on the money line. Next up, we see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Cleveland Guardians. Daniel Lynch and Tanner Bybee are your projected starters. I think that I honestly like Bybee more in this spot in terms of starting pitching because the Guardians have hit lefties very well this season. I know the Royals have a great lineup, but I also think that the Guardians have such a big bullpen advantage in this series, and we saw that in Game 1 where the Royals jumped out to a nice lead, but in the later innings, the Guardians found a way, and this is a team that's been able to do that rally the last few years. I mean, they're such a pesky team, and they're just never out of a ball game, really, because they do such a good job of getting on base, stealing bases, limiting strikeouts. They're a great defensive team. So they do the little things right, and I think they'll do the little things right in this game and grab a W in this one. I'm going to take the Cleveland Guardians on the money line. Next up, the Seattle Mariners taking on the Oakland Athletics. We're going to see Brian Wu and J.P. Sears as the starters. It's an interesting game here. Brian Wu's pitched well so far for Seattle, but I am a little bit worried about the strikeout numbers in the last couple of games. Only 3 Ks in his last 12 innings. And, I think this, even though the Oakland Athletics have not been as strong recently as they were maybe towards the end of April, early May, I still think that they've been a lot more competitive this season than a lot of people expected. J.P. Sears himself has pitched pretty well, 4.01 ERA overall this year, sub-4 ERA at home in 26 2/3 innings. I just think there's value with the Oakland Athletics. I know the Mariners are playing great baseball, and their offense has been a lot better recently. They made some moves with their, some of their coaches offensively, and it seems to be working pretty well for Seattle, especially with their strikeout numbers dipping, which is, a great sign. But I got to go with the Oakland Athletics in this one. I just think we're getting too good of a price with the home team. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Walker Buehler and Bailey Falter are your starters. Bailey Falter's pitched well with a 3.22 ERA, but I do expect some regression going forward. Only the 38 strikeouts in 64 1/3 innings. That last game had 5 Ks across 6 innings of work. And like I said, he's pitching really well. 3 earned runs or fewer in each of his last 5 starts. But this is a tough Dodgers lineup. They've hit lefties very well recently. Walker Buehler, while it may not be the amazing start that we expected from him at the beginning of the year, I still think he's one of the better pitchers in the National League when he's healthy. He's got great strikeout stuff, and his last game, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, so still was a quality start. Although the Dodgers didn't back him up, and they lost that in terms of run scoring, and they lost that game outright. I still think Buehler can go out there, give the Dodgers 6-7 strong innings, and that should be enough for a win and run line cover. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers in this one. Next up, we see the Atlanta Braves taking on the Washington Nationals. Reynaldo Lopez and Mitchell Parker are your starters. I think Lopez has the advantage in this game because, Mitchell Parker had to face this Braves lineup not too long ago, back on May 27th, and Parker pitched well in that game. He's pitched well overall this season, but it's never easy facing the same lineup in a very short span of time. And, even though he pitched well, he still gave up 3 earned runs, a home run in that game. And, Reynaldo Lopez didn't have to face the Nationals in that series. So he's pitched, excellent this season, 1.73 ERA. He's been a bit better at Truist Park, but even on the road, sub-3 ERA in, 21 2/3 innings, 22 strikeouts, only the 1 home run given up on the road. So I got to go with the Atlanta Braves in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we see the Minnesota Twins taking on the New York Yankees. We're going to see Pablo Lopez and Marcus Stroman as your starters. It's tough going against the Yankees these days, but I'm going to take a shot here with the Minnesota Twins. Pablo Lopez was one of the more unlucky pitchers in baseball when you look at his expected numbers, and he was struggling quite a bit. He had a bad start against these Yankees. He struggled against the Rangers and the Nationals, but he was excellent in that last game against Houston. 7 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. on the road against a tough lineup, and that was a 6-1 Twins win. I think Lopez I think he builds off of that start, kind of the momentum that he had in that game. He still has great expected numbers, and I think if he can stay healthy, he'll still be one of the better pitchers in the American League. He hasn't been great on the road this year, but I still think that he can give the Twins 5-6 decent innings. The Yankees are tough to face right now for any starting pitcher, but Marcus Stroman, I've mentioned the regression concerns. The expected numbers aren't the best. I don't love the fact that he is not missing a ton of bats, but also the ball, his ground ball to fly ball ratio is not as strong as we're used to seeing from a guy like Stroman, who's really a ground ball specialist. So I got to go with the Minnesota Twins in this game, getting a really good price on the money line. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Javier Assad and Hunter Green are your starters. Probably my least favorite game on the board. Hunter Green struggled against these Cubs in that last start on June 1st. 5 earned runs across 6 innings, but it was really one bad inning. 4 runs in 1 inning. Other than that, it was a solid outing. He has to watch the control. 5 walks given up in that game. But overall this season, he's pitched really well. His strikeout numbers are there. His control's been a bit better this season, and the home runs have been kept to a minimum. Only 5 home runs given up. Javier Assad's pitched well, but I do, when you look at the expected ERA, expect xFIP, they are pretty steep, and I do expect regression going forward. The Reds were able to score 2 runs off him in that game on May 31st, and the Reds won that one 5-4. I think the Reds grab a W in this one, too. I'm going to lean towards Cincinnati on the money line. Next up, the Colorado Rockies taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to see Mr. Cal Quantrill and Sonny Gray as the projected starters in this one. Quantrill's pitched well this season with a sub-4 ERA, but that last game against Los Angeles, I know it's the Dodgers, so it's never going to be an easy start, but 4 1/3 innings, 9 base hits given up, 4 earned runs. He's not really a strikeout guy, so only 1 strikeout in that game doesn't really surprise me, but the 9 base hits is pretty concerning. 2 walks to go with it. I think the Cardinals can get to Quantrill. We know this lineup was miserable at the beginning of the season. They're just much improved at this point in the year. I think they can get to Quantrill for a few runs, maybe add a few runs on the Rockies bullpen. But I still like the under in this game overall because I think Sonny Gray pitches really well in this one. He's been excellent this season with a 3.0 ERA. He's been a lot better at Busch Stadium especially. I don't, on the road so far, an ERA above 5. At home, in 29 innings, a .93 ERA. I like the Cardinals on the run line and the under at Busch Stadium. Next up, the Boston Red Sox taking on the Chicago White Sox. Tanner Houck and Jake Woodford are your starters. I think Houck the much better starting pitching option in this game. He's pitched well overall this year. He's in great form, giving up 1 earned run or fewer in each of his last 4 starts. His strikeout number starting to pick it up as well. He's got that sub-2 ERA overall this season and a little bit better on the road as well, where we find him here. Jake Woodford, he only had 1 start under his belt this season. It was that last game on May 28th against the Blue Jays. 4 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, so an ERA at 6.23. I think he pitched better than that, than the ERA may suggest, but I still think Houck the much better option. The Red Sox the much better lineup and bullpen to go with it. So give me the Boston Red Sox here laying the 1.5 runs. And the final game we're to talk about for the Thursday card in Major League Baseball, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the San Diego Padres. Slade Cecconi and Randy Vasquez are your starters. I like the Diamondbacks in the first 5 innings of this one. I think San Diego has a big bullpen advantage in this game and in this series, but I like Cecconi in the first 5 innings. He's in good form. Last game against the Mets, 1 earned run. It was a nice bounce-back start after struggling in the previous 2 outings. 4 2/3, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. His expected numbers, especially expected ERA, is pretty solid, so I'm willing to back him here. He's, doesn't really pitch deep into ball games, but I also think Arizona can get to Vasquez for a few runs. He's got a 5.74 ERA, not much better numbers at Petco Park. Gives up right around a home run per game. He's given up at least 1 in 4 of his last 5, so I think Arizona gets to him early. Now, if it's a close game late, maybe think about taking San Diego in live odds, but I'm going to go with Arizona in the first 5 innings. And that's it. Those are the games for Thursday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.